So this is part 3 in the series that I'm doing on characters in Revelation. This is the incredible cast of characters, of individuals, groups of people that are symbolically represented by funny names and funny symbols, dragons with 7 heads and 10 horns and 7 spirits and 7 eyes and 7 horns and all kinds of symbolic imagery that if you don't understand what this imagery is trying to convey, you won't actually know who the characters are in the story or what's happening to who and when it's happening to them. In this video today, I want to talk about the heavenly beings, that is, spiritual beings. I'm going to talk about the good ones. I'm going to talk about the bad ones. And this, again, is a little more complex than perhaps you've been told in your previous stories on the end times, your previous eschatologies. And I think this is far more complete understanding, and it's from the Word of God. And because it's more complete, it's something that our spirit actually resonates with. So let's talk about holy and heavenly beings today. So we know that Jesus gave the message of revelation to his angel. He talks about that in Revelation chapter 1 and also in chapter 22. And there's reason to believe that Jesus' personal angel, that is the messenger that he sends out, he personally has a messenger that he sends out. I think it's the angel Gabriel. And I think that from Daniel chapter, I think it's either 7 or 10 and 7 and 10. I don't know for sure. The one who is over the waters, whose face is like the sun, and like this person we see in Revelation chapter 1 that we know as Jesus. In the book of Daniel, it's the same person who has an angel with him, and it's the angel Gabriel. So next, there's 4 living creatures. These are not exactly angels, and my sort of basic understanding of these 4 living creatures, they're in heaven. They are the sort of the bodyguards that are around God's throne, not necessarily to guard God. They guard his sacred space, but I think they prevent anybody from entering the sacred space that shouldn't be there. And what's interesting, we see the 24 elders there among the 4 living creatures that are in God's throne room. So we have access to God's sacred space. They also carry out his will. They're going to announce the first 4 seals of Revelation 6. We also have a mighty angel in Revelation 5 who proclaims who is worthy to take this scroll and open its seals. We have 4 angels standing at the 4 corners of the earth. The 4 angels who are given power to harm the earth and the sea, and these are actually the first 4 of 7 trumpet angels. So we have 7 angels with 7 trumpets who stand before God's throne. We have an angel before the golden altar of incense who takes the prayers of the elders and adds more incense and then throws fire to the earth and creates the earthquake. There's an eagle in Revelation 8:13. I have no idea what to do with this creature. Obviously sent by God, but I have no idea. It's a mystery. Then we have Michael, the archangel, who gets that war in heaven going with his angels, getting ready to kick Satan and his angels out. We have 3 angels flying in mid-heaven at the time of Babylon's fall. And the first one proclaims to worship God and give him glory, for the hour of his judgment has come. The second one says Babylon has fallen, which it will fall in that hour of judgment. And the third angel says, don't take the mark of the beast, worship the image of the beast, or do any of that, because if you do, you're going to be thrown into the lake of fire, which burns forever and ever in the presence of God and the holy angels. So this is the moment in time when these 3 angels are flying, that they actually are proclaiming that the reign of the beast is about to begin. Then we have the angel who has authority over the fire. This is the judgment fire, the one who actually ignites that lake of fire. And then when we see the people who are raptured standing on the sea of glass mingled with fire. I think they're actually able to look through the sea of glass into the lake of fire that's been ignited. We have 7 angels with the 7 plagues. That is the 7 bowls. We have an angel in charge of the waters. Revelation 16:5. A mighty angel with a stone. An angel with the key to the bottomless pit and a great chain. And then we have Michael's angels. Okay, we have a whole bunch of nefarious beings, evil, wicked beings. And we're just going to go through this list and then we'll be done with all the characters in Revelation. So the first one is Satan. He's the dragon with 7 heads and 10 horns. He's the ancient serpent, the devil, and the deceiver of the whole world. He's the one who gives his power, his throne, and his great authority to the beast. The next group we have is the hybrids. These are not people. These are the earth dwellers, those who dwell on earth. They are the equivalent of the earthborn. The Septuagint refers to the Genesis 6 giants, the Nephilim, as the earthborn. These are entities who look like people, but who never had their names written in the book of life. They are not descendants of Adam, and so they are not real people, and they are not redeemable. And the earth dwellers are different from the people who are part of all nations, tongues, tribes, and so on. Those are real people, but the earth dwellers, those who dwell on earth, all who dwell on earth, are this group of hybrids. Next, we have the Antichrist, and he's sort of divided into 2 parts because he's the 7th king before he dies and resurrects, and then he's the 8th king after he dies and resurrects. And remember, the harlot only sits on 7 kings. She doesn't sit on the 8th king. In other words, the harlot is going to be gone before the 8th king begins to reign. So before he dies and resurrects, this person we refer to as the Antichrist is not the Antichrist yet. He is the white horse rider, the one who's going to take credit for winning the war in Israel, the war that results in our birth and rapture. He's the beast with 7 heads and 10 horns that we read about in Revelation 17. He's the 7th king and the scarlet beast that the harlot rides. And then after he dies, after he resurrects, he's the beast who ascends from the bottomless pit. And remember, Satan is not in the bottomless pit. Satan has free reign. He has not been chained in the bottomless pit. We're not talking about Satan. We're talking about Apollyon. We're talking about watcher angels, the ones who intermarried with human women before the flood and also afterward. Okay, so the bottomless pit is where these wicked angels are chained until the judgment of the great day, which is when Christ returns. So the beast who ascends from the bottomless pit is Apollyon. That is one part of who that beast is. And he's also the beast from the sea. The beast from the bottomless pit refers to Apollyon. The beast from the sea refers to a man who dies and is resurrected. The sea is a picture of death, right? We've talked about this before. The sea represents death. It can represent the actual sea, like the seas turn to blood. The other thing is it's similar to Sheol or Hades. It's a place of the dead. And that's why in the new earth and the new heavens, after the millennium, there is no more sea. There's no more place for dead people to go. Okay, there is no more death. Death and Hades are cast into the lake of fire. There is no more sea. There is no place of the dead. We're not talking about literal water here. It's also called the beast that was and is not, and the 8th king. Next, we have the false prophet, who is another beast. He's the 2nd beast who comes from the land, and he's also known as the false prophet. Then we have the angels who are from the pit, and I call these the watchers. This is, kind of a reference to this group of angels that we find in other writings. They are also referred to as the locust army of Revelation 9. the angels of the bottomless pit, the king of the angels, that's Apollyon, Abaddon, which is the king of the angels of the bottomless pit's Hebrew name, and then Apollyon, which is his Greek name. And then after Apollyon has gone into this man who's died and come back to life again, this spirit of Apollyon indwells a real human being. Because remember, the beast has the number of a man. He's a real person. But he's sort of an amplified person, sort of 666. He's a mega man. And there are other watcher angels who are released as well, who are going to basically do the same thing. They will have their spirits inserted into people who die. And I think there are people who choose to die because they think they'll become gods by doing this. And then the false prophet will give spirit to people who are going to be in the image of the beast. Okay, so the image of the beast is not an idol. There's another word that's used for idols. This is the image, like Adam is in the image of God. People are in the image of God. Believers are in the image of Christ. There's going to be people who are in the image of the beast. And they will have to be worshipped. All right? And other nefarious beings that we have here is the rider on the red horse. And I believe this is a spirit of war. These are real spirits. I don't think we're just talking metaphors here. The black horse rider is the spirit of famine. We have death and Hades, who are also, I believe, kind of archons or spirits. We have the four winds of the earth. These are the four spirits of the earth that are trying to stir up that sea to get the beast to arise out of the sea. It sort of harkens back to Daniel, I think it's chapter 7. We have a star that falls with the key to the bottomless pit and is assigned to open the shaft to the bottomless pit to let those guys out of there. We have four really malevolent angels who are bound at the river Euphrates. And once they are released, and this is at the sixth trumpet, this is when this whole harlot thing is going down, they are going to be the ones who actually carry out the death of a third of mankind. So the beast and the 10 kings are going to have, their vengeance on the harlot. They don't like her. And it's funny because Satan is in charge of both sides. But when he's done using one entity, off you go. And now he's just going to have his son and rule through his son. That's the way he wants to rule. He doesn't want to rule through the harlot and the harlot's daughters. Okay, and so he'll just get rid of them. But these four angels that have been bound, they are going to be a part of that as well. And a 200 million army, okay? Whether they're men or earth dwellers, I have no idea. Or something else. But it's a gigantic army that is going to kill a third of mankind. We also have demons. These are the ones who are in the wilderness, and when the harlot is destroyed, these demons are just let loose everywhere. We have 3 unclean spirits like frogs that are also demonic spirits. We have Satan's angels. He has a whole slew of angels that are in heaven, and they will be cast out of heaven just prior to when the beast rises from the dead. And they'll be cast out along with Satan. And before those angels are cast out of heaven, Satan is going to be on the earth, and he's actually going to take and cast a third of his angels to be on earth with him. Okay, and nobody's been cast out of heaven by Michael yet. It's just Satan coming and going, and he's going to come to the earth right around the time of the war in Israel, just before we're changed. And he's also going to compel a third of his angels to join him here on earth. So it's just going to be wild. It's going to be a really wild time, right around the time that we're changed. All right, so that's the characters in Revelation, and if you know who the characters are, they kind of tell the story. So to me, it's really important to know and understand who all of these entities are, and kind of how their relationship with one another, and where a lot of people make a big deal about like the seals and the trumpets and the bowls, and like you know the story by how the seals and trumpets and bowl judgments play out. Those are just markers in time, but the actual story has to do with the characters that we read about. So we actually know when all the trumpets are going to be. There's clues in Revelation and indicators when every trumpet judgment is going to happen. And there's we can know basically when all the seals are going to take place too. There's no mystery there. We don't know, however, when the 7 bowl judgments will take place because they're associated with the day of the Lord. And that's the day that nobody knows the day or the hour. Okay, I don't know. Nobody knows when that is. So there's like 2 dates that God is keeping for himself that he's not really telling anybody. And the first one is actually when that war in Israel will begin that will result in the birth of the man-child, when believers who are going to rule and reign with Christ are going to be changed from mortal to immortal. We don't know when the war will start, and we don't know how long the labor will be. Okay, we don't know that. But we have a window for it, and I think that window is this October of 2023. That's my feeling about all of this, from just looking at all the situation in the world today, looking at the scriptures, looking at the various indications about when Christ began his ministry, when 2,000 years are up, how to calculate the fig tree generation, the Revelation 12 sign. There's so many things that provide evidence that we're probably there. Okay, I think we're probably there. So let me know what you think. We'll see you in another video. Till then, have a blessed day.